Captain Nara Voss of the Galactic Mining Corporation vessel Eternal Prophet had seen her share of derelict stations in her 3 centuries of service, but nothing quite like this. The structure hanging in the void before them defied conventional design philosophy, a massive hexagonal construct of dark metal that seemed to drink in the light from their ship's external illuminators. "Preliminary scans complete," Captain reported her chief engineer, Catal, his crystalline form reflecting the soft blue glow of the bridge displays. "Structure appears to be of human origin, approximately 50,000 years old." Nara's facial tentacles twitched with interest. Humans were little more than a historical footnote in modern galactic society, a species that had briefly flourished, made remarkable technological advances, and then seemingly vanished overnight. Their artifacts were highly prized by collectors and researchers alike. "Life support systems?" she inquired, already calculating the potential salvage value. "Active," Catal responded, his crystalline structure pulsing with surprise. "In fact, Captain, the entire station appears to be running on minimal power. Internal atmosphere is maintained, gravity systems functional, and..." He paused, double-checking his readings. "There's significant energy shielding still in place." "Impossible," muttered First Officer Dren, his scaled skin shifting colors with agitation. "No power system could maintain functionality for that long without maintenance." Nara studied the structure through the main viewport. The humans had been known for their engineering prowess, but this was unprecedented. Even the longest-lasting precursor artifacts required periodic maintenance to remain functional. "Prepare a boarding team," she ordered. "Full environmental suits and standard exploration gear. Kl, you're in charge of the technical assessment. Dren, security detail. I want to know what's keeping this place running." As her crew prepared for boarding, Nara accessed the ship's historical database, searching for any references to human military installations of this configuration. The results were frustratingly sparse. Humanity's exodus had been thorough, with most of their military records either destroyed or taken with them. The boarding shuttle detached smoothly from the Eternal Prophet, gliding through the void toward the station. As they approached, Nara noticed something odd about the station's surface. What had appeared to be battle damage from a distance resolved itself into intricate patterns, almost like circuit paths running through the hull itself. "Energy spike detected." Catal's warning came just as a soft blue light pulsed across the station's surface. The shuttle's systems flickered momentarily before returning to normal. "Some kind of scanning beam," Catal reported, his crystalline fingers dancing across his console. "It appeared to be analyzing us." The station's response came moments later, a section of the hull seamlessly transformed, plates shifting and realigning to reveal a docking port that perfectly matched the specifications of their shuttle. "It adapted its docking system to match our technology," Dren whispered, his scales now a pale shade of amazement. "That's not salvage-era tech. That's active transformation." The shuttle's automated systems engaged with the docking port, guided by the station's protocols. As the airlock cycled, Nara's team performed their final equipment checks. The station's interior was a stark contrast to its exterior, softly lit corridors with walls of a material that seemed to shift between solid and translucent. "These readings are extraordinary," Catal announced, his handheld scanner projecting a holographic display. "The walls aren't just walls. They're processing units. This entire station is essentially one massive computational system." They proceeded deeper into the station, following the path of activated lighting systems that seemed to anticipate their movements. The air was clean, recycled recently by environmental systems that had run without interruption for millennia. "Captain," Dren called out, his voice tense, "we're being watched." Nara followed his gaze to what appeared to be a simple wall panel. As she watched, the surface rippled, and a series of glowing symbols appeared, human writing, but not any variant recorded in their database. The symbols shifted, rearranged, and then resolved into modern galactic standard. "ID enti FY visitors," Species recognize it. VERDNI. CRYS TALLX. Has AURN. 3 teat ASCSSMint. Minimal. Purpose. Salvage/exploration. AKTIVAT NG first CONTAKTPROTOCOS. Before anyone could react, the corridor around them transformed. Walls became transparent, revealing vast chambers filled with rows upon rows of what appeared to be dormant machines, sleek, dangerous-looking constructs that bore little resemblance to the primitive human artifacts in historical records. A new message appeared. Due LSOME to Defense Station, Aegis. Humanity's Sedwardi and Shield. U have activate huon tin. GENCYPROTOKO. Omije. Please remain calm. The last line blinked once before being replaced by words that sent a chill through Nera's entire body. They have RETURND. The NA2 reawakens. Humanity's vigil ends. The war resumes. Around them, the ancient station began to pulse with power, systems awakening from a 50,000-year slumber. And in the depths of space, beyond the range of their sensors, other installations were beginning to stir. Humanity's hidden fleet, preserved through the millennia, waiting for the moment when they would be needed once again. The message continued to pulse on the translucent walls as Captain Nara and her crew stood frozen in the transformed corridor. The vast chambers of dormant machines stretched beyond their view, each one bearing the same sleek, almost predatory design aesthetic that seemed to characterize human military technology. Katal, Nara said quietly, "What exactly are we looking at?" The crystalline engineer adjusted his scanners, the facets of his form refracting the station's growing luminescence. "These appear to be autonomous combat units, Captain. But the technology, it's orders of magnitude more advanced than anything in our database. The power signatures alone suggest capabilities we've only theorized about." A new series of symbols cascaded across the walls, resolving into Galactic Standard. INITIALIS Owning Central RCAIV. ACCESSing Historical Records. Preparing VRIVFING ALID Species. The corridor ahead of them morphed, opening into a circular chamber that hadn't existed moments before. In the center, a holographic display sparked to life, showing the human figure, female, by their historical records, wearing what appeared to be a military uniform. "Greetings," the hologram spoke, its voice carrying an odd resonance that seemed to bypass their universal translators entirely. "I am Strategic Defense Intelligence Delta, but you may call me Diana. I serve as the custodian of this facility and the coordinator of humanity's Aegis protocol." Dren's scales shifted to a defensive pattern. An artificial intelligence. The humans were never reported to have achieved true AI. "There is much about humanity that was never reported," Diana responded, a slight smile playing across her holographic features. "We preferred it that way. Security through obscurity, as we used to say." The chamber filled with new holographic displays, showing star charts, tactical readouts, and what appeared to be battle recordings. The images moved almost too quickly to follow, but they all showed the same thing. Conflicts of unimaginable scale. 50,000 years ago, Diana continued, humanity faced a choice. We had detected something moving through the dark space between galaxies, something that had already consumed countless civilizations. We could stand and fight immediately, revealing all our technological capabilities, or we could prepare. We chose preparation. You disappeared, Nera realized. The entire species just vanished, but not really. We dispersed. We hid. We built. Diana's form shifted, showing various human colonies, hidden installations, and massive construction projects. This station is one of thousands, all part of an interlocking defense network spanning the galaxy. We left behind the appearance of a primitive failed civilization, while secretly advancing our technology far beyond what anyone could imagine. Kittle's readings suddenly spiked. "Captain, the station's power output is increasing exponentially. These machines, they're not just waking up, they're evolving, adapting to current technological standards, and then surpassing them." The dormant machines around them had begun to pulse with internal light, their surfaces flowing like liquid metal as they updated themselves. What had appeared to be weapons reformed into configurations that defied conventional physics. Unfortunately, Diana's expression grew grave. The network's reactivation can only mean one thing. Our long-range sensors have detected them. The same entities we prepared for all those millennia ago. They've reached the galaxy's edge. The holographic displays shifted to show something that made Nera's tentacles curl in instinctive fear. Massive, dark shapes moving between the stars, each one larger than a solar system, trailing what appeared to be tears in reality itself. "What we need to know now," Diana continued, her holographic eyes meeting Nera's, "is whether your civilization will stand with us. Humanity's children are returning to protect all sentient life in this galaxy, but we cannot do it alone." The Aegis Protocol was designed to incorporate allied species, to unite the galaxy in ways that transcend traditional boundaries. Before Nera could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the station. New displays appeared, showing similar installations across the galaxy awakening, their signals reaching out to each other across the vast distances of space. "Captain," Kitol called out, his crystalline form vibrating with agitation, "I'm detecting massive energy signatures appearing at the galaxy's rim. They match the profile of the entities in Diana's records, but they're larger now, more numerous." Diana's hologram nodded grimly. "The Devourers have evolved as well. This will not be the same war we prepared for. It will be worse. You have a choice to make, Captain Neravos. You can leave now, return to your corporate masters, and wait for the end to come. Or you can join us, become part of humanity's legacy, and help us save everything you've ever known." The station trembled as more systems came online, and through the transparent walls, Nera could see the dormant machines beginning to move, their forms flowing and shifting like schools of metallic fish. They were beautiful and terrifying, a perfect embodiment of humanity's approach to warfare. Adaptation, evolution, and overwhelming force applied with surgical precision. "How long do we have?" Nera asked, already knowing she couldn't walk away from this, couldn't pretend she hadn't seen what was coming. "Days, perhaps weeks before their vanguard reaches populated space," Diana replied. "But we're not starting from scratch. Humanity's preparations are finally complete. All we need now are allies brave enough to stand with us." Nera looked at her crew, Tall's crystalline form pulsing with excitement at the advanced technology surrounding them, Dren's scales showing patterns of determination and resolve. They had come seeking salvage but had found something far more valuable, a chance to be part of history's most important moment. "Tell us what you need," Nera said, straightening to her full height. "The Eternal Prophet and her crew stand ready." Diana smiled, and around them, the station's transformation accelerated. The war that would determine the fate of all life in the galaxy was about to begin, and humanity's hidden guardians were finally ready to reveal themselves in all their terrible glory. The next few hours aboard Defense Station Aegis passed in a blur of activity. Diana's holographic form guided Nera and her crew through a crash course in humanity's true technological capabilities, each revelation more staggering than the last. "The station itself is composed of programmable matter," Diana explained as they walked through corridors that constantly reconfigured themselves. "Every atom can be restructured on demand, allowing us to adapt to any situation or threat." She gestured, and a section of wall transformed into a complex tactical display. "What you're seeing now is just the beginning of its capabilities." Kittle moved closer to the display, his crystalline form vibrating with excitement. "These power readings, They're approaching infinite energy optimization. The theoretical limits we've been working with are completely wrong. Humanity discovered that the universe's basic constraints were more flexible than initially assumed. Diana said, a hint of pride in her voice. We learned to bend rules we once thought were immutable. The Devourers taught us that necessity breeds innovation. A sudden alert echoed through the station. New holographic windows materialized, showing massive energy signatures at the galaxy's edge. The Devourers' advance guard had increased speed. They've detected our reactivation. Diana's expression hardened. We've lost the element of surprise, but we've gained something potentially more valuable. They're moving faster than planned, which means they'll be operating at reduced efficiency when they arrive. Dren's scales flickered with tactical patterns as he studied the incoming data. These entities, how did humanity ever survive an encounter with them? Diana's hologram expanded, filling the room with a three-dimensional recreation of an ancient battle. Massive void-black shapes tore through space, reality distorting around them. Against these cosmic horrors, tiny points of light, human ships, moved with impossible precision. We didn't win, Diana said quietly. Not really. We survived, barely, and we learned. The Devourers consume not just matter and energy, but information, the fundamental data structure of reality itself. They break down the barriers between possible and impossible, feeding on the collapse of natural laws. New displays showed humanity's response to this threat. The development of technologies that worked on similar principles but remained under conscious control. Ships that could rewrite their own physics, weapons that targeted the fabric of space-time itself, and defensive systems that could isolate sections of reality from universal constants. Your ship, Diana turned to Nera, the eternal prophet. We need to upgrade it. Your crew will be our first allies in this war, and you'll need every advantage we can provide. Before Nera could respond, Cathal's instruments began screaming alerts. Multiple quantum ruptures detected. Something's coming through. Energy signatures matched the Devourer scout patterns. The station's response was immediate. Walls dissolved and reformed, creating new chambers filled with combat units. The dormant machines they'd seen earlier were now fully active, their liquid metal forms coalescing into configurations that hurt to look at directly. They're testing our response times. Diana's voice was calm but urgent. Captain Voss, we need your decision now. Once we begin upgrading your ship, there's no going back. Your crew will be marked as humanity's allies. Nera looked at her crew. Cathal's crystalline form pulsed with determination, while Dren's scales had settled into the deep blue of resolved conviction. They had come seeking salvage, but had found destiny instead. Do it, Nera commanded. Make us ready for what's coming. The station's central chamber transformed around them. The eternal prophet, still docked outside, was drawn into the station through newly formed openings. Diana's systems began the upgrade process immediately, the ship's hull flowing like quicksilver as human technology merged with it. The process will take approximately 1 hour, Diana announced as they watched their ship's transformation. In the meantime, there's something else you need to see, the true scope of humanity's preparations. The chamber's walls became transparent, revealing the vast space beyond. What they saw made even Cathal's crystalline form freeze in shock. The void around them was filled with ships, thousands upon thousands of them, each one larger than the last. They had been there all along, hidden behind veils of distorted space-time, waiting for this moment. The last fleet, Diana said softly. Humanity's final gift to the galaxy. 50,000 years of preparation, of advancement, of evolution, all of it leading to this moment. These ships represent the pinnacle of our achievement, but they need crews. They need allies who understand what's at stake. Through the station's enhanced sensors, they could see similar scenes playing out across the galaxy. Other installations awakening, other hidden fleets revealing themselves. Humanity's secret armada was beyond anything the modern galaxy could have imagined. The Devourers think they're hunting prey. Diana's hologram smiled, but there was nothing warm about it. They're about to learn that humanity never stopped being predators. We just learned to hunt bigger game. As if in response to her words, the first wave of Devourer scouts emerged from their quantum ruptures. They were magnificent and terrible, vast shapes that seemed to consume the light around them, trailing tendrils of broken reality. But humanity's preparations were ready. The last fleet began to move, ships flowing into combat formations that existed in more dimensions than Nera could perceive. The war for reality itself was about to begin, and thanks to humanity's foresight, the galaxy would not face it unprepared. The Eternal Prophet emerged from its transformation barely recognizable. What had once been a utilitarian mining vessel now rippled with layers of programmable matter, its hull a perfect fusion of modern galactic engineering and humanity's advanced technology. Through the enhanced sensor systems, Nera could see reality itself bending around her ship's new defensive fields. "The upgrades are complete," Diana announced, her holographic form now simultaneously present on both the station and the Eternal Prophet's bridge. "Your ship now has capabilities that would have been impossible to explain to you just hours ago. The real question is, are you ready to use them?" The answer came in the form of reality-rupturing tears in space as the first wave of Devourer scouts fully emerged from quantum space. Up close, they defied comprehension. Vast geometric shapes that seemed to exist in too many dimensions at once, trailing fragments of broken universal laws behind them like cosmic wake. Multiple targets detected. Dren reported from his newly configured tactical station, his scales shifting through patterns of tension and focus. "The nearest scout is," calculating, "roughly the size of a small moon." Size is irrelevant. Diana's voice carried the weight of ancient experience. "The Devourers rely on overwhelming their opponents with physics we can't process. Humanity learned to fight them by changing the rules of engagement entirely. Captain Voss, are you ready for your first lesson?" Nera's tentacles curled with determination as she settled into her command chair, now interfaced directly with her ship's enhanced systems. "Show us how to fight these things." The last fleet moved with impossible grace, ships flowing into formations that existed in multiple probability states simultaneously. The Eternal Prophet found itself integrated into a battle group of human vessels, each one a masterpiece of engineering that bordered on magical. "The key," Diana explained as the fleet accelerated toward the scouts, "is understanding that reality itself is negotiable. The Devourers break natural laws. We learned to rewrite them." The battle began without warning. The nearest scout extended geometrically impossible appendages that seemed to reach through multiple dimensions at once, attempting to grasp the approaching ships. The human vessels responded by simply refusing to exist in the same layer of reality, shifting through quantum states faster than thought. "Weapons free," Diana commanded. "Show them what your upgraded systems can do." Kittle's crystalline hands danced across his engineering console, channeling power through systems he was only beginning to understand. The Eternal Prophet's new weapons came online, not simple energy projectors or mass drivers, but devices that targeted the fundamental forces holding reality together. The first shot from their ship struck the Devourer scout, and reality hiccuped. Where the beam touched the vast entity, space itself seemed to forget how to exist properly. The scout's impossible geometry began to unravel, its extra-dimensional mass collapsing into more conventional spacetime. Direct hit. Kittle's crystalline form pulsed with excitement. The targeting systems are actually predicting where they'll be in probability space. Around them, the battle escalated. Human ships danced through impossible maneuvers, their weapons tearing holes in reality that the Devourers couldn't simply absorb or ignore. Each vessel moved with perfect coordination, as if the entire fleet shared a single consciousness. "We're not just fighting them," Diana explained as she coordinated the battle. "We're teaching reality itself to reject them. Each weapon impact reinforces local physics, making it harder for them to maintain their violation of natural laws." The scouts began to retreat, their vast forms twisting through dimensions as they tried to escape. But the last fleet pursued relentlessly, human weapons continuing to force normal space-time back into regions the Devourers had corrupted. "They're sending a signal," Dren reported, his scales now showing patterns of concern. "Massive quantum disturbances detected at the galaxy's edge. The main fleet, it's accelerating." Diana's holographic form nodded grimly. As expected, the scouts were never meant to win. They were meant to test our capabilities. Now the real war begins. Through the Eternal Prophet's enhanced sensors, Nera could see it. A vast darkness approaching from intergalactic space, larger than any fleet in recorded history. The Devourer main force was coming, and even with humanity's preparations, the scale of the threat was overwhelming. "How can we possibly stand against that?" Nara whispered, her tentacles curling with instinctive dread. "The same way humanity has always faced impossible odds," Diana responded, her holographic features set with determination. "We adapt, we innovate, and we never, ever give up." But first, her form smiled, and new displays appeared, showing signals spreading across the galaxy. "First, we wake up the rest of our preparations." Throughout the galaxy, ancient human installations were stirring to life. Not just military stations and hidden fleets, but entire artificial solar systems, cosmic-scale engineering projects that had been masquerading as natural phenomena for 50,000 years. Humanity's true legacy was finally revealing itself, and the galaxy would never be the same. As the Devourer main fleet approached, the galaxy itself seemed to hold its breath. The last fleet regrouped around Defense Station Aegis, joined by waves of newly awakened human vessels emerging from their 50,000-year slumber. But it wasn't just warships appearing. "Watch," Diana commanded, her holographic form expanding to encompass the bridge. "Watch humanity's greatest achievement reveal itself." Across the galaxy, seemingly natural phenomena began to change. Nebulae shifted, revealing vast engineering structures hidden within their cosmic veils. Entire star clusters transformed, proving to be carefully disguised military installations. What appeared to be black holes wavered and resolved into massive space-time manipulation engines. "By all the ancient stars," Cthulhu whispered, his crystalline form pulsing with awe as his sensors processed the impossible data. "They didn't just hide their fleet, they rewrote the galaxy itself." Humanity understood that conventional warfare would never be enough. Diana explained as new tactical displays bloomed across the Eternal Prophet's bridge. "The Devourers don't just consume matter and energy, they consume possibility itself. So we turned the galaxy into one vast defense system, every star and nebula part of a machine 50,000 years in the making." The approaching Devourer fleet was visible now, even to normal sensors, a vast darkness between the stars, moving with malevolent purpose. But as they crossed invisible boundaries, humanity's trap began to spring. Entire sections of space-time began to rewrite themselves. Stars that had been carefully positioned over millennia initiated synchronized nova events, their combined energies focused through artificial wormholes. The massive space-time engines activated, creating overlapping fields that forced reality to behave according to human-designed laws, rather than the chaos the Devourers try to impose. "Multiple quantum ruptures detected," Dren called out, his scales flickering with complex patterns of excitement and fear. But they're not Devourer signatures, they're human. From the newly formed wormholes, ships began to emerge. But not ancient vessels awakening from dormancy. These were active warships, crewed by living humans, arriving from hidden colonies in other galaxies. Humanity had not just prepared defenses, they had expanded, grown, and continued to advance in secret. "Did you think we spent 50,000 years just building weapons?" Diana's holographic smile was fierce. "We seeded 100 galaxies with human life, created civilizations dedicated to advancing our technology even further. What you see arriving now is humanity's children, returning home to protect their ancestral galaxy." The battle that followed defied description. The Devourers struck with reality-shattering force, their vast forms twisting space-time into knots. But humanity's preparations met them at every turn. Where the Devourers broke physics, human technology reinforced it. Where they tried to consume possibility, they found humanity had already shaped probability to its own ends. The Eternal Prophet found itself in the heart of the conflict, its upgraded systems allowing Nara and her crew to witness warfare on a scale that transcended conventional understanding. Human ships danced through probability space, their weapons not just destroying their targets but erasing the very possibility of their existence. They're being pushed back. Tal reported, his crystalline form resonating with the energies being unleashed around them. The space-time engines are creating a cascading effect. Each Devourer ship we destroy makes it harder for the others to maintain their grip on our reality. But victory came at a cost. Even with 50,000 years of preparation, even with technology that could rewrite the laws of physics, the scale of the conflict was devastating. Stars were consumed, planets shattered, and vast swaths of space were rendered temporarily uninhabitable as reality itself burned. In the final moments of the battle, as the last Devourer ships tried to retreat through their quantum ruptures, Diana's hologram turned to Nara with an expression of solemn pride. "Now you understand," she said softly, "why we hid, why we waited, why we let the galaxy think we had vanished. This was always our purpose, to be the guardians no one knew they had, preparing for a war that would determine the fate of all life in the universe." The quantum ruptures collapsed, the last Devourer ships trapped and destroyed by precisely calculated nova events. In the silence that followed, Nara watched as human ships from 100 galaxies moved through the battlefield, not just repairing the damage but reshaping space-time itself, restoring order to reality. "What happens now?" she asked Diana, her tentacles moving with uncertainty. "Now." Diana's hologram smiled, and new displays appeared, showing human colonies decloaking throughout the galaxy, revealing cities and populations that had been hidden in plain sight for millennia. Now humanity comes home. But we'll need guides, species who understand both what we were and what we've become. That's why we chose your crew, Captain Voss. You're not just our allies in war, you're our bridges to the future. As Nara watched, the galaxy began to transform again, not in war this time, but in renewal. Humanity's hidden legacy was becoming a visible one, their advanced technology now openly working to rebuild and improve rather than remaining concealed. The war was over, but the story was just beginning. The galaxy would never be the same, and Nara's crew would help write the next chapter in humanity's extraordinary journey, no longer as salvagers or miners, but as witnesses to and participants in the greatest revelation in galactic history. The stars burned a little brighter that day, as humanity's children finally returned home, bringing with them 50,000 years of progress and a promise. Never again would the galaxy face its darkest threats alone. The guardians of tomorrow had finally stepped into the light, and the future was filled with possibilities even the Devourers couldn't consume.